Hey guys, it's Ryzen.
And Liz.
And welcome to the recap for the Broncos at Patriots, a game that frankly had no business happening.
There's really not a lot to talk about, to be honest.
I mean, the game was unfair. I mean, it's just reality. It was an unfair game. Essentially, the Broncos were able to practice for 2 weeks, and the Patriots had one practice in a month. I'm sorry, if you're going to have teams close their facilities, then you have to make it fair. Then the Broncos should have had to close their facilities. Because it showed. The Patriots were completely inept.
Right.
Because they can't, it's not their fault. They can't practice. They couldn't game plan. They still almost won the game, despite that, because the Broncos are probably the worst team in the league.
Right.
But, or at least one of them. But, Jesus, like, I don't get it. It's just frustrating. I mean, the Titans get rewarded effectively for illegally practicing.
Like half their team having.
I know they were illegally practicing. They get a slap on the wrist. The Patriots go above and beyond, ask for things like, "Oh, can we get some locker space in Kansas City that's bigger so we can socially distance?" No. Oh look, now half our team has COVID. Thank you, NFL.
Yeah, and half the offensive line has never practiced with each other.
It's not fair. It's not right.
No.
I mean, you got 3 guys injured. Who knows how much of that is because of conditioning that they couldn't do.
Right.
I mean, NFL, do you give a shit about the player safety or not? Obviously you don't, because you're not taking COVID seriously. They should have cut the season down in half. So you could have had 8 games, 8 weeks to play with before the playoffs. I mean, or have a 6-game season and do a bubble. There's so many things they could have done to stop this from happening.
That's what all the other sports did.
Well, they did.
NBA did a shortened season. Baseball did a shortened season.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what the NFL is thinking.
Hockey didn't even play.
Hardly, yeah.
They canceled their 2020 season.
Basketball did a bubble in the playoffs. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, we went to the game. Basically, nothing happens. The first half of the game is punt, interception, fumble, punt. I mean, the Patriots defer, Broncos get a field goal, because of course they fucking do.
Nothing happened until the 4th quarter. There's really nothing to talk about.
Cam's stats look bad because he got 2 interceptions. Both of them are off of tips. There's a fluky tip pick.
No, there was 3.
No, there's only 2. I think. There's a fluky tip pick. It's a missed block. Defense holds another field goal. The defense was good despite the fact that they couldn't practice.
All the Broncos could do was score field goals.
Illuminar got hurt. On this next one, for some reason Gunner kept taking the ball out. I don't know why. I guess he was told to. I don't know. So that brought in, Froholt, I think his name is?
Yeah.
God, he sucks.
So they moved around the left guard and left tackle a couple of times.
Yeah, and by the way, Isaiah Wynn was terrible in this game.
Despite playing guard in college.
Oh, he was terrible.
Not that long ago, either.
And by the way, Tooney was bad in this game. And Tooney hasn't had a bad game like ever.
No, that's the first time I've seen him have a bad game in a long time.
Again, practice. These guys have not practiced together. Why are the Broncos allowed to practice and the Patriots aren't? I'm sorry. That is ridiculous. Why do some teams have fans in the stands and other teams don't? You have to have a consistent rule set. Otherwise, effectively, teams like Tennessee that have fans in their stand, Kansas City, they're effectively cheating. They have an unfair advantage.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Miami, too.
Not Miami, it's Jacksonville.
The Dolphins have fans in the stands.
They did?
Yeah.
Places where there definitely shouldn't be
No,
fans.
there shouldn't be fans at any of these stands. Have it be fair. If one team can't practice, the other team can't practice. That would be fair. No, instead, you just give one team 2 weeks to practice so that they look sharp and the other team can't practice at all.
Oh,
wow, what a wonderful game to watch.
The Broncos weren't even that sharp, though.
Well, the Broncos suck. They have Locke I thought was terrible. The announcers were hyping him up the whole time. I thought he sucked. He was terrible all game. He made a couple of good deep throws, but he was forcing things all night long. Anyway, the Patriots have to punt after a sack. The second quarter, and Locke just keeps forcing the ball to Judy deep downfield. I don't know. I thought he was terrible. Butler got hurt on this thing.
He came back in, though.
He came back in, but there's another field goal. It's 9-0.
Illuminor's the bigger concern.
Izzo took a big shot on the next Patriots drive. I don't know why it wasn't flagged. It was an uncalled for shot.
He, like, bent backwards, and then the guy hit him with his helmet.
Yeah, a guy hit him with his helmet, benting him backwards. I mean, I thought the rule was you can't lead with your helmet anymore on tackles. You gonna enforce it or not, NFL?
Yeah,
Jesus
that was
Christ.
very blatant.
Uncalled for hit. I mean, somehow Izzo came back in, but anyway. It was a good catch and run by Zuber. Zuber was pretty good in this game. But then a bad snap kills the drive. It's just no practice.
It definitely showed.
Kick a field goal, it's good. 9-3 Broncos. The Broncos get a 52-yard field goal, because of course they fucking do. It's 12-3 Broncos at this point. Basically, McManus was their entire offense. The Broncos sucked in this game.
Right, all they could do was kick field goals. That was it.
Yeah, Patriots knee it out. Quarter 3, there's a bad Cam fumble that Owenwu recovers. Owenwu was the only good offensive lineman today.
No, Owenwu was the... Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Illuminor is the one who got hurt. Owenwu was good.
Owenwu was the only one that played good.
They swung him out to left tackle in the second half of the game.
I mean...
They cannot have any more injuries to the line. There's nobody left.
Well, the problem is who's going to test positive next week, because they're all in the incubation period, and the NFL doesn't give a shit. So I guess the Broncos can enjoy having their COVID that they might have.
Yeah, but Kansas City never had anybody.
I'm still stunned by that. Maybe it's because of the equipment they wear. I mean, we just don't know.
No.
But it was incredibly stupid to play this game. Hopefully Denver doesn't have COVID, but
who knows?
Who fuck knows now? Anyway, they hold to a field goal. There's a blown holding call on this drive against Gilmore. He didn't hold at all.
Right.
Fucking stupid.
They were both grabbing each other.
Yeah, there's a field goal. 15-3 Broncos. Oh yeah, the defense gave up 3rd and 21 on this drive too. That's the one thing the defense did that just baffled me.
Other than that, they played very well.
They were good. So it's 15-3. Izzo fumbles because can't practice. Jesus Christ. Broncos recover. I mean, and a 54-yarder is good. Because, of course, why not? Why not just kick a 70-yarder?
Yeah, he probably could have kicked from
it would have been good from 60.
From the freaking end zone if he needed to.
Jesus Christ. Can't get any fucking breaks. 18-3 Broncos. There's another tip that leads to a pick. I mean, Cam Stats got hosed in this
I'm thinking
game.
the fumble was the pick. That's what I'm thinking it was, but it wasn't.
He fumbled. He had 3 turnovers, but whatever. I mean, him and the fumble was the line collapsed around him. And then Cam had a problem this game. He was holding the ball too fucking long.
Way too long,
Way too long. Fourth quarter, Patriots at the punt. The Broncos are held. They try to do stupid draw people off sides. It doesn't work. They punt it. Slater, dude. What are you doing? Like, he has the block, and instead of taking the block...
He just dives under him.
He runs, he steps left and then dives.
Right.
Why?
Why not go for it?
Why not run into the...
Look, safe.
I know you're trying to avoid a roughing call, but you're getting your ass kicked. You needed that block.
Right, you could have gone for it.
You should have gone for it.
Take the penalty, I mean.
Well, they're not, if you touch the ball first, you can kill the punter. As long as you touch the ball first.
Right, then why didn't he try and go for the ball?
Because he's afraid he's going to miss the ball and hit the punter. The punter's going to sidestep. But that's the time you got to go for it.
Yeah, you're down as much as you are.
Then Gunner is tackled before he even has the ball. What the fuck is up with that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that? So, of course, that's flagged. That's catch interference. I mean,
that was the most blatant one I've ever seen.
I mean, I've seen it where they actually run into the guy.
But the guy was like, ooh.
No, he grabbed him and tackled him.
Yeah.
The ball's 10 feet in the air.
The ball wasn't even to him yet.
What are you doing?
That's just bad coaching.
Oh my God, it's the worst special team play I've ever seen.
Bad ball. Nothing trumps the Colts play.
Holy crap. Well, that's not completely stupid. Anyway, there's a great run by Newton on the next play. For some reason, there's no late hit flag, even though he took 3 steps out of bounds and got hit out of bounds.
Yep. With the ref right there.
With the ref looking at it.
He was right next to him.
I mean, it's at the goal lines. Who gives a shit? It's like 2 yards anyway.
But still, the ref was right next to him when it happened.
And then the other weird thing is, they get down to the 1, they run a sneak. Newton scored clear as fucking day. He reached over. I mean, it's blatantly obvious. And for some reason, they rule him down at the 1. Like, what? So they have to waste a challenge on it. I mean, it's the easiest challenge I've ever seen. Like, the ball, it's not just barely crossing the plane. It's way over the white line.
Right. It was pretty obvious.
How do you miss that? So they overturn it. They go for 2. They don't get the 2. I don't know why they went for 2. I mean, you had to go for it eventually, but you could have waited. So now it's 9-18, I guess.
Yeah, and that's...
And then the game got somewhat interesting because Locke decided that he didn't know how to take a snap anymore. And this was not a shotgun snap. He was under center, and he dropped the ball because he's an idiot.
You got damn lucky we didn't pick it up.
Damn lucky, but then it doesn't matter because then he threw an interception that was the worst interception I've seen a quarterback throw this year.
Great catch by Jones, though.
Well, no, this is the first one.
Oh.
The one that he threw to Patrick and Jackson picked it.
Oh, that one.
What the hell? What was that? What was that? I'm going to assume Patrick was supposed to run a curl because otherwise that made no sense because the ball was like 10 yards underthrown, like 5 to 10 yards underthrown.
Come here.
It must have been a comeback route or a curl route because otherwise Locke lost his goddamn mind. And he's lucky it wasn't a pick 6, frankly. It was a bad interception. Anyway, Cam took a bad sack, but then he got a 12-yard run. The kick is good. It's 18-12. It's a 6-point game.
That's where the score ends.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's a 6-point game. They kick it away. They don't onside it. That's the right decision. And then Locke, instead of, running the ball, there's 2.5 minutes, 3.5 minutes left, 4 minutes.
Something like that.
Run the ball. Your quarterback just threw an interception. You have a young quarterback who's, frankly, having, I think, a bad game. Under 50% completion percentage. Yeah, he's managed the game okay, but frankly, that's because of Patriot ineptitude more than anything else. So, run the ball. Lindsey ran well. I mean, credit to Philip Lindsey.
Had a good game.
He had a great game. And instead of handing the ball to Lindsey, who has over 100 yards, you throw it deep into double coverage. Now, granted, the interception was ridiculous. I mean, it was over the shoulder catch by
He went like this to
Jones. Unbelievable interception.
That's something you would expect a receiver to do, not a cornerback.
But shouldn't have thrown that. Should have ran the ball. The Patriots only had 2 timeouts left too. They didn't have all 3. So anyway, there's a double pass from Edelman to White. That was good. 2-minute warning. Cam sneak for the first. That leads to the 2-minute warning. Then there's another play.
They did the double pass twice.
They did a jet sweep to Edelman, but then he threw it to Cam. So they did. They
tried
2 passes.
They tried.
Then Cam took a horrible sack because he held onto the ball too fucking long again, and the line sucks.
And then Cam throws the ball downfield.
Yeah, and 4th.
Harry's wide freaking open.
Cam first of all threw it way too far to the right, and then Harry falls down because he sucks. Like, I'm sorry, Harry's been the worst first-round pick they've had in a long time.
Well, they can't. They're bad at picking receivers in the first round.
I can't stand and kill Harry at this point.
He's not good.
He sucks.
Honestly, the guys that they brought up from the practice squad,
Bird has been better than
Bird
him.
and Zubar, both from the practice squad, have been better.
I don't understand how a guy that big
has so many problems. I don't know.
And that athletic can't run routes. I mean, he so much as gets breathed on,
and he falls over,
and he's out of position.
Honestly, next year, what I think they should consider is, I don't know what's left on his contract,
Trade him.
but get rid of him.
Get rid of him.
And elevate Zubar and Bird to the roster. I think Bird's on the roster.
Bird's on the roster. Zubar goes back and forth.
They should elevate him, honestly.
They should right now, but I mean, what they need is they need a Beckham, or they need a
receiver.
They need a receiver that's good. Or at least a tight end or something.
Right.
Another thing is, why isn't Asasi?
Assisi? I don't know how to say his name.
Pronounce his name. Devin, I think his first name is. Why isn't he playing? Why is Izzo starting over him? Because
he did make a good play in this game.
Devin's been playing good in practice. I mean,
he made a good catch today.
The few practices they've had.
The one grab he had today was great.
So I don't get it. I just don't get it. I think Izzo is terrible.
So the game ends 18-12. On next Sunday, they have to play the 49ers at home.
Yeah, and guess what's going to happen next week? Because they're in incubation period. So there's going to be more guys that are going to test positive. Who knows? I mean, I'm waiting for, Julian Edelman test positive. Or, James White. Or, I don't know, Joe Tooney. Because something's going to happen. I mean, they're going to get more positives next week. And I guess to the NFL, if you don't have a bye anymore, I guess you play anyway.
Right, because now they have to play the rest of the season straight through.
I guess so. I guess that's the way it's going to work. So, because I thought for sure when they had a positive test Saturday, there's no way they were going to play this game.
It was 3 guys. It wasn't even like it was 1.
Well, it was 1 guy that tested positive, and then 2 guys went into quarantine.
Oh, okay.
But still, you can't play this game. And then sure enough, the Patriots come out and they look like a team that has practiced once in a month.
Right.
Because they practiced once.
Well, I think technically twice.
Yeah, but one was a virtual practice. I think they had like a virtual walkthrough or something.
Oh, okay.
For one of those. So I think they practiced technically twice in 2 weeks. Really only 1 physical practice.
Right.
Which, I'm sorry, you cannot have teams that are practicing and the other team doesn't get to practice.
Right. It boggles my mind. It doesn't make any sense because the Northeast is still one of the lower infection rate areas.
Well,
so I don't know where these guys are getting it from.
I don't know, but we're in a second wave now. You know, sorry to say, but our country did a shitty job with COVID. We did one of the worst in the world.
Yeah.
So now we're dealing with the consequences. You know, if we were every other country, we'd probably be back to normal by now and we could enjoy a good football season. But because our country's terrible at dealing with a fucking pandemic,
right,
we basically can't do anything. And now we have to watch as the NFL is completely ruined by COVID. And frankly, there's going to be states that are probably going to shut down within the next month or so.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And then what's going to happen?
Wouldn't be surprised at all.
Because there's huge spikes all across the country again. Because we didn't get through the first wave. Now we're in a second wave. So now we're combining the two. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what happens if Massachusetts shuts down again?
What do the Patriots
Do the Patriots get to forfeit all the rest of their games?
I guess. I don't know.
Do they have to play away games all the time? Do they just not get to practice?
What would happen? I don't know. There has to be some sort of
They have to have contingencies.
I would think. I mean, they probably could go play in like Rhode Island or Connecticut.
I guess, but
UConn, I think, has stadiums, right? I don't know.
I don't know what
I have no idea.
I don't know what they're going to do. But this was a completely unfair game. That's what I do now. And this cannot happen again.
People are saying, oh, the Tennessee only practiced once or twice. Yeah,
no, Tennessee held illegal practices.
Right, they looked fine today. No, come on, they illegally practiced.
They illegally practiced. They got caught illegally practicing.
And everybody knows
And they got a slap on the wrist for it.
Right.
When they should have been made to forfeit the game.
Right.
Because they endangered everybody.
Right.
What the Titans did is inexcusable, and their coaching staff should have been suspended for it at a minimum.
I agree.
To Bill's credit, he's taking this very seriously.
He is.
And he is sacrificing this season for the safety of his players because he's not an asshole.
That's exactly what he should do.
And that is what the Titans should have done.
Right.
There is no excuse for that.
No.
And to give them just a fine and a slap on the wrist
is wrong.
Disgusting. I'm sorry, just disgusting.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Totally wrong. So, what I would do if I was the NFL going forward, if a team has to close their facilities, whoever they're playing has to close their facilities for just as long. Neither team gets to practice. Have a fair playing field.
That would be fair.
And if they're not willing to do that, okay, then just be aware that you're going to have games like this that are not fun to watch.
No, because the viewership was probably awful.
Because this game, until the fourth quarter, when somehow the Patriots were able to execute some things, I don't know how, frankly.
The first 3 quarters of the game are garbage.
No, I mean, and I'm not mad at New England. It's not their fault.
It's the NFL that we're more angry at.
Yeah, it's the NFL's fault. You made them play a game they should not have been playing. And it shows. So, thanks, NFL, for endangering the Patriots, for endangering the Broncos, for a game that was shitty because one team couldn't practice. So, good job. So, the Patriots, they play 49ers next week.
Who knows?
I'm guessing they're not going to be able to practice next week, so the 49ers will probably enjoy an easy win.
Despite being banged up as the Broncos
being a bad team, because they're injury prone. To be fair, the 49ers aren't bad normally. They just have a lot of injuries.
Right.
The Broncos are just shit no matter what, but...
Well, half their team is injured too, so...
True, but even if they weren't, I mean, defensively they're okay, but...
Right.
Their offense is not very good. They still don't have, I think, a very good quarterback, but... They're trying. Oh, God, this game was terrible. I wasted 4 hours of my life on this game.
3 hours. It was only 3.
Oh,
It wasn't 4. There's not 5 quarters.
I know, it's just frustrating because usually at least you get to watch, even when you lose, you get to watch like the Seattle Patriots game. Good stuff happens in those games that they lose. This was just
crap all around.
Sloppy to the point of, and you can't get mad at them because it's not their fault.
No.
They can't practice. So, whatever. So the final score is 18-12. I had nothing else to say, but other than the NFL needs to take COVID more seriously, period. Period. I mean, we're back up to 60,000 cases again a day. So, I mean, take the shit seriously or cancel the season at this point.
Right. Too many people have lost their lives or are getting sick.
Or getting sick. I mean, how many people are dead already? 250,000? Ridiculous.
I think it's close to 250. And people don't want to take it seriously.
We don't take it seriously.
We
got freaking idiots that want to go have party at freaking Disneyland and shit.
Makes no sense.
When we had to cancel our vacation.
And a lot of other things.
Fucking ridiculous. Sorry, guys. I just get pissed off when other people are so selfish that they want to go have their fun and games when we sacrificed.
Everything.
Everything. When we did the right thing and then we're penalized for it effectively.
Yeah.
God damn. Fuck COVID, frankly. Fuck this year. This year is so terrible.
It's like we thought football would be enjoyable, but
no,
it's turned out to be stressful.
Yeah, because it just, every time I watch it, I hear another COVID player. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. I can't enjoy anything. Can't take my mind off of what's going on in the world for 2 seconds.
Right.
Because I have to watch as my favorite team is crippled by COVID to the point where they can't even play a game properly.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating.
All they can do is run the ball.
And it's not their fault. And I am grateful that Bill has taken it seriously and he's prioritizing the health of the players. Even if it leads to a shitty year, so be it.
Right. I agree.
That's the right thing to do. Alright, so we'll I'm not going to preview games if they continue to move them like this or get COVID, and
it's too hard to predict.
I can't predict when they're going to, and frankly there's no point, because when they're going to game plan this, I don't know what they're going to game plan because I can't game plan.
Right.
So
there's nothing
to preview
like that. Yeah.
I mean, they came into this game with no game plan, clearly, because they couldn't.
All they did was run the ball, basically.
That's all they could do until the end.
And then dump off a little bit here and there.
And they tried to pull out a bag of tricks at the end, which
it worked, but in the long run it didn't.
Even when they ran misdirection, it was so mistimed. They just
can't practice. That's what happens when you don't physically play.
Can't practice. COVID just ruins everything. Alright guys, we'll see you on the next video. Sorry for ranting, I get really angry with COVID and just this year's been so fucking terrible.
Well, it'll be fun to look back at this in 5 years and see what we went through.
So terrible. Alright, take care guys.
Bye.